All right, so this is worksheet number 21, day 3. And I'd like you to plot this point, 4, 3. Count over 4, count down 3, because, 4 is your x value and negative 3 is your y value. When you're saying to yourself, whoa, is this really all we have to do? Of course not. Come on, get real. But 2 days ago, I blew your mind and I gave you the mathematical equivalence of there is no Santa Claus. By saying, hey, we really can do stuff with the square root of a negative number. And so there's a new system in place here. We have complex numbers, which are basically a plus or minus bi, which has an a value and a b value. The a value is a constant, like the number 2. The b value is going to be basically just the coefficient of I, 5 in this case. And like I did just a moment ago, plotting an x and a y value, if you know where x is and where y is, and you know which of these is x and which of these is y, then you're basically doing the same thing when I ask you to graph and label each complex number on the axis at the right. Additional information that might be important is that this is the imaginary axis. In other words, if it involves I or if it's the b value, then we're going to go use that as an up and down. If it's real, if that means it's not the coefficient of x, the a value of our a plus or minus bi, then we're going to go back and forth. So the reality of it is I look at 2 plus 5i. I'm essentially graphing, and you don't have to write it this way. I'm graphing the point 2, 5. That's my x, that's my y, that's my real, that's my imaginary. 2 plus 5 is over 2 and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please don't change anything from the mentality that you have when you plot that point. That plus, don't add those together. It's not a 7. Don't multiply them. It doesn't even say multiply. You're going to go over 2 and you're going to go up or down 5. That being said, we look at b. 6 minus I. Well, don't forget, that's not a minus I. That's a negative 1 in front of an I. And so if we're plotting that, essentially what we're doing is we're plotting the point 6, negative 1. And to do that, we're going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to go down 1. We're going to put a b right there. All right. I don't have to do much more of this. I think you're good. Okay, negative 4, 2. You don't have to do this. But if it helps, by all means. Back 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1, 2. It's a positive b value. It's a positive coefficient of I, so it means up. We saw here it meant down because it was negative. That's a negative real number. That's why we went back 4. Label it C. So you're labeling all these, and so, okay, so a few weird things happen like this. What's missing? That's right, the I, which means technically we've got a plus 0i. Okay, very rarely do we ever see, hey, graph this point. So yeah, there's a little bit more thinking involved. Okay, whoa, there's a 4, I don't know what to do. I think you would if you saw it like that. And that's essentially what you have to do here. You don't have to write plus 0i, but you do need to recognize that that's the a value. That's the real term, and that right there is the coefficient of I. So E would be basically 1, 2, 3, 4. E is a real intercept. It's on the real axis, which here hopefully you would automatically say, oh, well, that's a 6. It's in front of the I. That's on the imaginary axis. We're going up. So that right there is the F. Now the only one that I really see maybe being a challenge at this point is this guy. You might say, oh, well, that's going to be on the imaginary axis, but twice. No, it's not. What's I squared equal to? Negative 1. Well, which one is negative 1? Well, do you see an I? I don't either. That's the negative 1, 0, because there is no I term once we square this. It becomes a constant, so the answer is basically just going to be on the x-axis, the real axis. Back 1, and that's H.